Slater Crusaders, America's the greatest country in the world. Glad you're here. We got to talk a little bit about Seattle and Portland and the madness that's going on there. We got to get Chris Rufo back on the show. He's been crushing it lately. He's been exposing a couple things. First, the DIE training, the diversity, inclusion, equity training and brainwashing that's going on in different governments, city, state, even federal government. So he's been exposing a lot of that training that's been going on. And people in Seattle have been leaking documents to him about how and why they're cutting police funding by 50% and cutting the county jail population by 60%. Now, I got to ask him this. I'm not quite sure. I heard that they want to completely shut down the downtown Seattle jail. I don't know if that's part of the county jail capacity or it's different from or in addition to. I'm not exactly sure. But the point is they're letting a lot of criminals out on the streets in the name of justice. Remember a couple weeks ago, abolish the police became a thing? All right, everyone's talking about abolish the police. It came out of nowhere, abolish the police. And everyone came out and said, that's crazy. And they said, we didn't really mean abolish the police. Look at you guys overreacting, blah, blah, blah. Here it is. I mean, how much closer to abolish the police do you want to get than 50% and then cut the funding and then 60% decrease jail capacity? That's as close to abolish as you could possibly get. Well, the city council the other day, I think unanimously, passed a resolution for police in Seattle to stop using tear gas against rioters. Now, you may be seeing this letter by now. This is a letter that the police chief, who's against that, sent to business owners. I'll just read let's jump to the second paragraph. Please also know that city council, crowd control tool goes into effect this weekend. This would have been last Sunday, 2 days ago. The ordinance bans Seattle police officers the use of less lethal tools, including pepper spray that's commonly used to disperse crowds that have turned violent. Simply put, the legislation gives officers no ability to safely intercede to preserve property in the midst of large violent crowd. For these reasons, Seattle police will have an adjusted deployment in response to any demonstration this weekend, as I will never ask our officers to risk their personal safety to protect property without the tools to do so in a safe way. That's the chief of police. So imagine you're a business owner and you get that from the chief of police. You're like, wait, what? So, like, that's just, you're on your own. That was like a nice way of saying you guys are all on your own now. Now, I guess one of the courts came in and said, city council, you can't do that. So it's going to work its way through the courts and all that. But the point is, you were always on your own. That's the truth. I mean, here's the chief of police saying you guys are on your own, but you were always on your own. And everyone deep down knows that. Right? This is why there were a record number of guns sold in the beginning of COVID, right? Because there was a hint of social unrest being a possibility. So people rushed out and got guns because they knew that when it hit the fan, they would be on their own. And then you throw on full-on riots on top of that. And like, I don't think you can fully imagine what it's like to be in the midst of a riot like that, truly fearing for your safety. And now knowing that no police are going to come help you, according to the chief of police, as ordered by the city council. Same thing, imagine being in your car, you're driving down the street and all of a sudden this big mob comes around you, they're blocking traffic and you're like, your kids are in the car, your wife's in the car, and then if you drive away, no matter how slowly, someone's like, oh, they nicked my leg, oh, and then they sue you for, right? What do you do? Police, we're getting closer and closer to a point, potentially, if we keep it on this road, where police, it's not just going to be Seattle, where the chief of police is like, sorry, guys, nothing we can do for you. Except, by the way, except for them, right? Except for the city council. I guarantee you, the city council in Seattle will still have police protection, or they'll get private protection, right? I know you've been following at least a little bit that couple in St. Louis, right? That mob went to their property, peaceful protesters, went on their property, and the husband and wife came outside with their guns, and they got charged with felonies. And the guy's like, listen, this is a totally upside down world where the prosecutor apparently thinks her job is not to keep us safe from criminals, but to keep the criminals safe from us. Wow, that was deep and insightful. I want more of that. Like, subscribe, get more.